Welcome to Aspiring Runners. My name is Ray Whitby, and in this video we're going to be looking at a series of dynamic warm-up exercises before you hit your run. This video is part of a series, The Complete Guide to Running for Beginners. Now this video is a visual representation of a previous video where we were looking at the key preparation steps required before you go out for each run. Now dynamic warm-up exercises, there is a plethora, a veritable smorgasbord of exercises that you can choose from, and you've got to adapt it to suit your style. So this is about a top to bottom warm-up for runners before you head out for that run. The key here is to look at the dynamic exercises rather than a series of static exercises. So we're really focusing on the routines to get your body prepared and warmed up for the run. So let's get cracking. Now every exercise or routine that you're doing within the dynamic series must be a very gentle exercise that doesn't take your muscles or tendons beyond their existing range of motion. That becomes part of the static routine, which is better in a focused session through your training week or after each run in the cool down. The first exercise that we're going to look at is just simple neck exercises. And you've got to keep it simple. You've got to make sure that you're protecting your neck as well as your spine. So you don't need to yank your neck backwards like this, because you'll end up ruining the muscles at the back of your neck and potentially causing issues within the spinal column. So what you've got to do is keep your head upright to start with and only in forward to side motions. You want to be looking forwards, putting your chin towards your chest and then rotating up to the shoulder, then coming back down again. And here to the other side, again, to the extremities, you don't want to be holding for any length of time or forcing your neck further than is comfortable. So it's just to keep the range of motion, moving those muscles so that they warm up. Come up again, looking at head height, rotate to the side. Again, not to overdo it on the neck muscles. To the side. Again, you don't want to be stretching so hard that it becomes painful. It's just gentle stretching to ensure that it is loosened up. Come down again, come up, and then just to roll your chin down to the other side, the shoulders, and back again, and again. Shoulders. The shoulders, keeping your arms to your side, gently rotate them forward, trying to get the extreme range of motion that you can. And then backwards, and then forwards, and backwards. And start with your arms stretched out and do very small circles. If you're looking to your right, you'll be looking at a clockwise movement and then anti-clockwise movement. And then to get that range of motion slightly bigger, make those circles a bit bigger, and then come back in the other direction and make them bigger still, and then back the other way. And then you want to increase that range of motion to its maximum capacity. And you're then coming fully up and over the body in a butterfly-like format. Of course, the traditional one is to then start at the top and then do counter rotation in one direction and then in the other direction. So that will all help with your arm coordination. Okay. The other thing you would like to look at is keeping your elbows at 90 degrees. Just to come up so you don't bring your fist above your neck height, and you're not trying to look at rotation where you're bringing your hands in front of your body. So just to come up forwards, keeping it at 90 degrees, and then to come back so that it's almost 180 degree motion for your forearm coming through, or your biceps, I should say, on both sides. Now here you want to stress your muscles just a little bit to provide a bit of resistance to it. You don't want to be clenching your hands really tight, but this is to help with your shoulders. Okay, just from the side, looking with your fist pumping motion. Again, you don't want to be coming too far up. So looking at the 90 degrees, which is the natural angle you'll be using for running. Most of us do. Obviously there's a lot of variation in the break angle at your elbow, but 90 degrees is commonly spoken of. So we'll look at your biceps being at 90 degrees and then to the other side. So providing the resistance in your muscles around your shoulders to that motion. So feet about a shoulder's width apart, keeping them flat on the floor. Hands, they could be at your side, on the hips or in the small of your back. And here, again, we're not trying to strain the body through excessive motion. It's just to circle in one direction, then back in the other direction. Try to extend that range of motion as completely as possible and keeping your legs as straight as possible. So after rotating the hips, then we should look at some leg extensions just by gentle swinging from side to side. You want to start off in a forward motion and then try and do a side to side. Now here it's great if you can actually hold on to something, or if you've got a friend, someone who doesn't mind, but be wary about who or where you're doing this in case you start kicking somebody. So again, to try and improve your balance, make sure you've got your feet firmly planted. We're just going to do a forward motion, so you can maybe slightly bend your knee to give you your balance. We're going to use the other leg to keep that nice and straight, just forward and backwards. You should be able to feel a stretch in the hamstring. And if you point your toes up, you'll probably get a calf muscle stretch as well. So keeping your balance, so swinging it forwards and backwards. Don't forget to switch to the other side. Start off with smaller motions, then increase. Now if you don't have to hold on to anybody, you'll then be improving your center of balance and control, unlike me. Okay, after you've done forwards and backwards, then what you could try to look at is a gentle side to side sweeping motion. Again, make sure you have good center of balance, keeping your legs straight. And here we're just trying to flex the muscles on the outside and the inside, the adductor muscles in particular. Don't go crazy with it. You don't want to overextend yourself or end up falling on the floor. Keep everything within your capable means. And switching to the other side. Next we're going to look at knee ups, and here the traditional form of knee ups would be to bring the knee up, grabbing it and pulling it into the body. But again, we don't want to be looking at static stretching here, that we're just concerned with dynamic stretching. So what we're going to do is keep the opposite leg firmly planted on the floor to bring the knee up, and at the same time to bring the opposite arm up into a fist pump. Now we start off with maybe the knee not going above waist height, and as we get warmed up, we can then increase that range of motion. We've got to try and keep the back straight so we're not bending forward to try to knock ourselves in the chin. Providing resistance in the shoulders. A great exercise as part of the dynamic warm-up routine is to look at butt kicks. And we're looking to mimic the natural running form. Just turn sideways to the camera for a moment. So the idea is not to keep the knee down below the body, underneath the trunk, and then to kick the outer part of the glutes, but actually to raise the knee slightly and then to flick up to hit the glute, raising the knee, kicking up. So as I say, it mimics more of the natural running form. So we try it, alternating the legs, just bringing that knee up a little bit and then flicking underneath. If you can, speed up. So lifting the knee slightly and flicking the foot up towards the glute. So trying to hit the underneath of the glute rather than on the backside. And as you say, can speed up with this action. To maximise the benefit of dynamic warm-ups, what we should also look at is trying to stretch out the groin somewhat. So we're looking at the iliotibial band and the adductors, as well as the top parts of the quads as they're connecting up into the hip. So keeping your feet firmly placed on the ground, trying to make sure you've got stability in your support foot to raise your knee up, and then to take it out to the side until you can feel the resistance, and then bringing it back down again. And just complete that motion, just keep it going. Circular motion, and if you have the stability, just to keep them going without touching the ground, which will also improve your coordination as well as your stability. And then you can go in the other direction. Now here again, we're not trying to grab the knee, we're not trying to force it into a stretch, just to complete the range of motion. Then with the other leg. So try and slow it down so you get maximum control over this particular warm-up. When you've got the stability, continue the circles and then back the other way. Utilizing some of the traditional static stretching methods into a dynamic mode can also be beneficial in your warm-up routine. What you could look at, for example, is to use a short lunge where you're keeping both feet facing forward. You're taking your support leg to keep it nice and straight, and the lunging leg will come forward, ensuring that your knee doesn't advance beyond the ankle. Keep the body nice and upright as you can. But the idea is not to extend so far in front that you cannot get back up to your original starting position easily. So try to keep the support leg as straight as possible. You may find you're rolling onto the ball of your feet and your heel lifts up. Again, not a problem. Okay, from the side, just to show you an overextended lunge, and this is what we're trying not to do, is to take such a long stride that it's actually very difficult then to pull yourself back up to the standing position. Take a much shorter distance in front, and your knee should not be going too far forward of your ankle. Try to keep the body nice and upright. You should be able to get a nice fluidic motion. Now we should look at the final part of the system as we're doing the dynamic warm-ups. We started from the top, going back down to the bottom. The last piece of the puzzle is to look at the ankles. Now traditionally, a lot of people would keep their foot in contact with the floor, trying to reduce the amount of weight on it, and then rotating the ankle. The problem with keeping the foot in contact with the floor is that you can be prone to excessive pressure onto it by leaning the body into it. So it's far better to lift up the knee, keeping it parallel to the floor, and then just allow the foot to rotate. Try to keep the knee still, best as you can, and then extend that range of motion for the foot as wide as possible. And try to keep your body in balance as well. Okay, to complete the entire warm-up routine, however you've managed to put it together, whatever you've chosen to warm up the system, you've got to bring all the component parts into one final warm-up form. Now this could be done in forms of burpees, or you could even do star jumps. And with that said, the next step really is to look at going for a very short jog, and here 3 to 5 minutes, where your heart rate again doesn't go up too high and you're just making sure that the entire system is fully ready to run. If you're analysing your body's feedback through that jog, you'll instantly be able to know, are you ready to tackle what's ahead of you in your running session. However you've actually approached your warm-up routine, it is a highly individualistic expression, and whatever works for you. I think you've got to look at it as something that is going to be a positive influence for your run rather than something that's torturous. The idea is to get your heart rate up to only about 50–60% of your maximum heart rate, where you're not actually out of breath. But you've just warmed up slightly and you can feel the tingle on all your muscles and you feel relaxed and comfortable and ready to go. If you're suffering from any injuries or there's any niggles or cause of concern, then I think you need to probably take a step out from the running, take a step back, just focus on that area, maybe with some stretching, some massaging, and if it feels loose enough, go back through the dynamic routine before you then head out for that run. You don't want to start off with an injury, compounded by the fact that you couldn't warm up properly. You'll end up wrecking your running season. So thank you for watching. Catch you next time on Aspiring Runners. Take care. Thank you.